some facilities argue that buying elephants is the best way forward because if you buy an elephant, you can protect that elephant, right? Let me ask you a question without any information whatsoever about how the elephant trade works. If you're an elephant trader and I come to you and I say, I want this baby elephant, I'll give you 300,000 baht. And he says, no, I want 1,000,000 baht. And I say, okay, I'll give you 1,000,000 baht. And I give him 1,000,000 baht. And all he's done his entire life is trade in elephants. What's he going to do with that 1,000,000 baht? He's not going to go and put an in-ground pool in his house and retire. Buy another elephant. And if you want to make money as an elephant trader, where do you go and get an elephant that's cheap? Wild. Why? Because wild elephants don't have owners. So it's cheaper. So if you buy elephants, we don't know much about the actual trade yet. It's something that there's people working on, people are studying, but it would make sense that if you are buying an elephant and you're giving money, a lot of money, to one individual that all they've ever done is buy elephants, they're going to go and buy another one. That's what they do. The other thing is imagine you have a 65-year-old elephant with a landmine injury and a broken leg. That elephant can't work, it can't give rides, it can't do anything. On an open market, it's worthless. Just think of in terms of the money. Obviously, it's a beautiful animal and we love it, but it's not worth any money. But I go and I go, oh my God, that's awful. I hate that elephant being on a chain. I want to put it in a place where it can live a good life. So I'm going to buy it, and I'm going to pay 600,000 baht for it. Now what? Now you've given that elephant a good life, but all of a sudden, that elephant that was worth nothing is now worth something. So all of a sudden, an elephant that was worth 0 baht is now worth 600,000 baht, and all of a sudden there's a market for elephants with broken legs. Does that sound good? No. So John, who came at a great time, developed an easier, a better approach, which is renting the elephants. John initially started buying elephants. So he bought 1 or 2 thinking that might be the best way to go. Then he realized that wasn't the best way to go. He instead went to the streets of Bangkok where Mahouts were walking their elephants on the street begging for food. You guys probably know a little bit about that. And that's not always a choice for those guys, by the way. These are guys who have elephants, they've had them for many centuries, and all of a sudden they don't have any work for them. So they take them to the streets in Bangkok and they beg for food, and they make really good money. That's the best money you can make as an elephant owner. So John went to these guys and he said, I have an idea. You come up with your elephant to our facility, we'll build you a house for your family, we want you and your family to come, we will provide all the food for you, you will have no expenses whatsoever, and we'll pay you a rental fee of 15,000 baht. So he's convinced 30 elephants to come up here. Of those 30, 12 work with tourists between the Anantar and the Four Seasons Resort next door. The other 18 elephants get to live a good life with absolutely no work whatsoever except hopefully playing crazy intelligence games with me. And it's a much better life than they would have on the streets. But in addition to taking care of the 30 elephants here, what we do that I feel very strongly is unlike any other facility is we don't raise money to go to these 30 elephants only. So we do raise money because we have to take care of the elephants. It's a massive hotel company, very wealthy. They take care of the 12 that are working with guests. The foundation takes care of the other 18, so we raise money to take care of those 18, but that's not the primary source of that's not our primary goal for what we're doing with the money. We put that money towards protecting the species, not those elephants, because that's really where it's going to matter. Me opening a sanctuary, putting 30 elephants into that sanctuary, it's nice. It's a nice life for those 30 elephants, but you are not going to save a dying species by protecting 30 animals. You're not. You cannot. The elephants are dying at such a rate and not reproducing fast enough that the only way you can protect them is to work on protecting the wild populations. So we would prefer to put all of our resources towards educating the public about elephants, but protecting the wild populations that are still left. The reason we keep elephants on chains, and the reason we use hooks, and the reason that is the only way you can take care of elephants in captivity when you have them in what we call free contact, meaning you guys can go up, Pepsi lies down, you can pet him on the head, right? If Pepsi wanted to, he could stand up and kill all of you. He could. He's 50 times bigger than you, he's stronger than you, he could do it. But Khan, his Mahout, is standing there with an object, a device that hopefully, in most situations, would stop Pepsi from doing anything to you. You were all touching Pepsi. Did you guys see huge scars on his head? Did you see him bleeding profusely from the top of his head? No. because Khan's a very good mahout. He knows how to use that hook, and he uses it only when he needs to. The issue here is that you have a wild animal. It's an animal that's never been domesticated. It has never undergone what we call artificial selection for tame subordinate behavior. So you need some type of tool to protect you and everyone around you. Because they're a wild animal, you can use it sparingly, you can train the elephant, you can work closely with the elephant, but that tool is necessary. The chains are required simply because we don't have enough land to release 30 elephants safely. Nobody does. So we put them on chains to make the elephants safe and to make us safe. And we try and get them off the chains as much as we can. We want to give the elephants an opportunity to socialize with others. We want to give them an opportunity to not be standing in one place all day. But unfortunately, we don't have the land to do that. And you guys might say, well, I came from a place where they released 30 elephants and the elephants got to play with each other. If you take 30, 40 unrelated elephants and you put them together, you create a very stressful situation for the elephants. Something you wouldn't see in a day trip. What did I say before that? If an elephant gets really angry at another one, what will they do? Kill him. So that should be very clear. That even if elephants are playing with each other, they're interacting with each other, they're socializing with each other, it's very difficult to tell whether an elephant's stressed or not. But if they're separating from other elephants, if they're constantly vocalizing, if they're upset, then you're creating a situation potentially where the elephants are not going to be happy. Yes, we would all prefer that the elephants we have chained and separated from others were in their natural family groups with 20 or 30 other elephants living in the jungle. John and I'm sure we would both tell you right now that if someone offered us 1 billion acres of land and we didn't have a hotel, we would release those elephants if it was feasible immediately.
Forget the hotel. Honestly, I mean, forget the hotel. If somebody offered me 1 billion acres of land, I'd have to negotiate with the mahouts and everything else because, as Josh was saying when I came in, we don't own the elephants. But that's what I would do.
So when we were driving, we saw a mahout like holding the hook and hitting the elephant's head like really hard. So the elephant like just, because it went a little bit out of the way, so it went back on track. So like if they raise the hook on the elephant, won't that like make the elephant remember that what used to happen to him? So it will like eventually affect the elephant.
All right, good observation, good point. There are a couple ways to answer it. The first is yes, if you had an elephant in a mahout where the mahout was not good to the elephant and the elephant was always scared, then yes, the mahout would be able to influence the elephant. And that's something we always have to take into account. The second thing is, unfortunately, one of the downsides of not buying an elephant is that you can't tell the guy taking care of it what to do all the time. This is a traditional mahouting society in Surin. They've been doing it, some of them for the groups of families for a very long time. John imposes rules. We don't want the mahouts hitting the elephant on the head repeatedly for no reason. But we're not the owner of the elephant. And if it got out of control, where the mahout was really abusive and it was a problem, John would tell them to leave. But you're trying to also work with Thai people and not against them, right? And if we came out and we said, you're all fired, you don't treat elephants well, we're going to do something different, that won't encourage a collaborative working relationship. So what we try to do is, and it's slow, is to convince these guys that it's not necessary to constantly hit your elephant. Give the elephant some space, there's no rush. Walk the elephant. If the elephant wants to stop to get food, let them stop. So it's a very slow process. Whereas some places, because I know what you're comparing it to, hire mahouts that are expendable. So you hire people that work for you. You're not paying them very much, and you can fire them whenever you want. But there's no developed relationship between the elephant and the mahout. So you might see a mahout hit an elephant in the head and think, oh my God, that's really bad. And 6 hours later, after you guys have left, that mahout is lying down next to the elephant singing to it. A lot of times you might go to a place and go, God, this is the way to take care of elephants. Don't go to those horrible trekking camps where they ride elephants 12 hours a day and you see the mahouts hitting the elephants in the head, right? I'm sure many of you are thinking that. You might ride past the camp and go, yeah, I don't want to go there. But what happens if nobody goes to that camp? What happens if there's no tourists? Who suffers? The elephants. And there's no food. There's nobody feeding the elephants. Elephants eat 250 kilos a day. It costs John $1,000 US a month to take care of an elephant. That's a lot of money. $30,000 US a month per camp, at least, that money has to come from somewhere, and it comes from tourists. So simply saying, don't go to this place because we don't agree with it, is only going to hurt the elephants. It doesn't hurt the Mahouts. It doesn't hurt the owner of the camp because he'll just go do something else with the elephants somewhere else. It hurts the elephants.
What would you say to, like, say the banker 1,000 miles from here? Why should he care? So what? If, like, I mean, sure, a species is dying, but don't, like, all species die somehow?
The answer for domestic elephants is slightly more difficult. For wild elephants, I would say that if you're protecting wild elephants, you're not only protecting, you can focus on protecting wild elephants, but in protecting an area with wild elephants in, you're protecting an entire ecosystem, which means you're protecting a jungle, you're protecting the lungs of the planet. We all know about global warming. Some of us are skeptical, some of us aren't. We all know that the world needs more trees. If we're concentrating on protecting wild elephants in one way or another, and again, our way of doing it, because we're with domestic elephants, is to try and work out how intelligent they are, try and use that research to help other people build elephant corridors to try and reforest for the wild elephants. If you're protecting wild elephants, and before I came here I was doing tigers, if you're protecting the large, significant megafauna, you are actually protecting an entire jungle. And if you're protecting an entire jungle and you're trying to persuade people to increase the area of that jungle, you're actually saving the planet. The only answer, and I sincerely believe this, the only answer in the long term is not to have elephants and people mixed, is my opinion.